grab Bugatti, then she walks in. Well, that's the way it goes. One in, one out. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
In Casablanca, Rick's cafe operates as a kind of purgatory. Refugees from all over the world fleeing the mounting conflict of World War II bide their time at Rick's in French Morocco, hoping to secure a visa to Lisbon, where they'll continue on to the then neutral United States. For these people, war has put life on hold. In Casablanca, war ends romances. It turns rich men into paupers. Even Sam's watch has stopped.
My watch stopped.
Everyone at Rick's is stuck waiting. All anyone can do then is trying to make the most of it. Rick's has plenty of booze, has gambling, has great entertainment. Rick's cosmopolitan clientele stand in unified opposition to the Third Reich and their quest for world domination. Rick's is, in essence, an idealized microcosm of America, or more broadly, the liberal democratic West. As for Rick himself, for a majority of the film, Rick professes his impartiality. He doesn't care about the war, doesn't care who wins. All he wants to do, he says, is mind his own business. Everybody else, though, it seems they know better.
Louis, whatever gave you the impression that I might be interested in helping Laszlo escape?
Because, my dear Ricky, I suspect that under that cynical shell, you're at heart a sentimentalist.
Rick ran guns to Ethiopia. He fought for the Loyalists in the Spanish Civil War. In Rick's cold, shriveled bosom, they insist, still beats the heart of a good, freedom-loving American. And of course they're right. When Rick does lay a thumb on the scales of justice, such as when he hides Ugarte's stolen letters of transit, or when he rigs the roulette wheel in favor of a young Bulgarian couple, it always comes down on the side of the meek and downtrodden. What inevitably leads Rick back into the everlasting light of liberal democracy is first of all the increasing encroachment by the Germans on what is supposed to be neutral Casablanca. More than that, though, it's love that rekindles Rick's patriotic spirit. It's reconnecting with Ilsa that reminds him there are things worth fighting for. The selfless love of a woman is joined and transmogrified into a selfless love of all good, freedom-loving people, as Rick puts Victor Laszlo on the plane with Ilsa instead of himself, knowing that Ilsa will be safer in Lisbon, but also that Laszlo needs Ilsa's love and support to continue his work with the resistance. Rick knows this from first-hand experience, from his own recent disillusionment. If Casablanca's political ambitions aren't exactly subtle, they are artfully implemented. What works about Casablanca is there are multiple strata on which you can appreciate the film. As one reviewer from Variety put it at the time of the film's release, "Film is splendid anti-Axis propaganda, particularly insomuch as the propaganda is strictly a byproduct of the principal action, and contributes to it instead of getting in the way." Even before scratching at the film's politicking, Casablanca stands as an engaging character drama, full of romance, intrigue, and wit, and starring probably the greatest leading man and leading lady to ever grace the silver screen. The script sizzles with that fast-talking, double entendre-laced patois typical of films in the 1940s. Casablanca is also probably one of the most pleasing films to look at, where each shadow seems put there with a painterly attention to detail. Everything from the script to the performances to the art direction is almost flawless. The question is, then, do Casablanca's undeniable artistic merits, the fact that it so engages and emotionally invests the audience, does that then negate any suggestion of the film as propaganda, or does it just make it propaganda of a more accomplished sort? What would even be the benefit of bad propaganda? What benefit is propaganda if most people can see right through it? Or is propaganda less about persuasion than it is affirming an already held belief? It should be noted that at the time of Casablanca's release, the United States had already entered the war. The film's release was timed to capitalize on the Allied invasion of French North Africa and the capture of Casablanca. In Casablanca, the overriding political message might be summed up as isolation bad, intervention good. Even taking into account the idea of World War II as the quote-unquote good war, that one major conflict undertaken with such distinct moral clarity that it's been repeatedly transposed into video games and pulp superhero adventures, even then it's hard not to consider Casablanca's interventionist drum beating in a modern context, as in the past year alone, celebrities, politicians, and other pundits have invoked the same rhetoric to try and embroil the United States in not one but two major conflicts. America has no better tool in its propagandic arsenal than its last good war.
You've previously said that it's the best money we've ever spent. That's still true?
Since we helped Churchill stand up to the Nazis.
Patriot missiles for air defense batteries, made in Arizona. Artillery shells manufactured in 12 states across the country, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and so much more. You know, just as in World War II, today, patriotic American workers are building the arsenal of democracy and serving the cause of freedom.
This is a regime that agreed to international inspections, then kicked out the inspectors. This is a regime that has something to hide from the civilized world. States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world. They could attack our allies or attempt to blackmail the United States. In any of these cases, the price of indifference would be catastrophic.
Don't you sometimes wonder if it's worth all this? I mean, what you're fighting for.
If we stop breathing, we'll die. If we stop fighting our enemies, the world will die.
After all, the one thing any good liberal democracy needs to thrive is a steady stream of opposition by which to define itself. Fascists, communists, jihadists, there's an entire rogues gallery snarling at the gates, just waiting to destroy our way of life. Sometimes, when a country can't find a good enough enemy, it'll even try and invent one, invoking the mythology of its good wars and its Humphrey Bogart standing up against the Jerrys, using them to create an enemy where before there was none. It's for that reason alone that maybe even a bona fide classic like Casablanca deserves just a little bit of skepticism. Despite all that, whenever I watch Casablanca, all my cynicism and modern-day baggage tends to melt away, because the movie is just so dang good. Everything else is just a hill of beans. In conclusion, Casablanca is a really good movie.